After marrying into the Middletons' opulent family, Pippa Middleton lived a life tailored to keep her private. Viewed from the outside, everything appears controlled and reminiscent of a fairy tale. But when you examine her and her husband's genuine lifestyle, their living situation, and the decisions that ruin their world, you can't help but wonder if a life based on compromise rather than love can truly endure indefinitely. See for yourself in this video the reasons why Pippa Middleton's marriage is certain to fail. Not much fame followed Pippa Middleton's marriage. She became a footnote after her marriage. The union appeared to be a logical next step from the outside. Living the life of luxury, serenity, and secrecy as the younger sister of a future queen. Contrary to popular belief, the life she embarked upon was far from glamorous. It was cold, sterile, and designed to stay out of the spotlight. People are beginning to doubt the longevity of this marriage, and that decision alone explains it. James Matthews is a product of a unique environment. Classical European currency that remains covert. Capital from hedge funds that prioritizes anonymity above public renown. A concept based on prudence was the foundation upon which his father created Edenrock Capital Management. That way of thinking extended beyond the corporate world. It altered the family's lifestyle, their choice of residence, and the level of public visibility they embraced. That outlook is mirrored in their principal residence in Bucklebury, Berkshire. Rather than being surrounded by photographers, this vast country home is protected behind gates and acres of land. This is not the way rich people in London live. The rural isolation, long travels, restricted access, lack of neighbors, and infrequent chance meetings are all part of it. The type of establishment that aims to blend in with its surroundings rather than draw attention to itself. Pippa Middleton lived a totally different life before she got married, so that decision is significant. She advanced across many social tiers. Attended public gatherings. Rather than royal authority, she possessed cultural clout and was so visible. Many people photographed her, spoke about her, and cited her. Married life drastically reduced that presence. Famous people don't fit in with the Matthews way of life. People who want to hide from prying eyes would love this home. You cannot call the estate a statement. It acts as a barrier. Their secondary planet is located thousands of miles distant. A resort that is instantly associated with seclusion and ultra-high net worth is St. Bath's on Eden Rock. In terms of famous people taking vacations, this is not the place to go. There are private villas, restricted entry, and an area where the rich mysteriously vanish. Everything is revealed to you by this dual life. England for regularity and organization. Getting away to the Caribbean for some peace and quiet. The focus is on disengagement rather than participation in both. Luxury and ease are suggested by public perception. Constraint and control are the hallmarks of the real world. For Pippa, marriage was not a stepping stone to greater prominence. She dropped one. That was deliberate. The problem was systemic. The same story is told by cars. You won't see any flash. Not a single performance car. No claims. Luxury SUVs that are both practical and discreet, ideal for the countryside. Vehicles that are more subdued than flashy. Their entire gait betrays a lack of focus instead of concentration. Their everyday routine is a reflection of this. Ran silently to school. Reduced social life. Make only necessary appearances for family matters. Avoid in-person meetings. There is no branding related to lifestyle. Nobody tried to take advantage of the closeness of the royal family. At that point, the differences start to emerge. At a royal wedding, Pippa Middleton went from being an unknown woman to a household name around the world. After years of being the center of attention, she entered a world where fame is seen as a burden. Some may perceive it as a sign of maturity. Some people think it's erasure. The culture of the Matthews family prioritizes control over expression, privacy above relevance, and profit over narrative. Personal and social adjustments were necessary for Pippa's passage into that environment. She remained herself after her marriage. In doing so, it turned it inward. Just because it is extreme, rather than because it is wrong, that decision sparks speculation. When a life requires vanishing entirely, people start to wonder if it will last. No scandals, evident cracks, or indications of excess are present. The reason the skepticism is persistent instead of explosive is because of that. The marriage seems strong because it is peaceful. However, restrained can also indicate silent. This appears to be an ideal getaway from the outside. Looking in from the inside, it seems like there aren't many ways out. From living on the cusp of power to living in a world where it is mostly unseen, Pippa Middleton has experienced it all. All of a sudden, that alteration occurred. Every detail, from her attire to her gait to her destinations and sacrifices. There is no betrayal or conflict involved with the subject that keeps coming up. It all comes down to long-term compatibility. How does one find contentment in a life crafted to stay far away from the spotlight when they were previously a part of it? That is not a question arising from idle chatter. It is derived from watching their way of life. Speculation ceases to sound random once the framework of that life is revealed. It begins to sound as if it were certain. Their way of life encompasses more than just wealth and property, which is important to keep in mind when discussing it. There is rhythm. Decisions are being made. The one who takes the lead and changes with the times is paramount. This is when rumors of Pippa and William's marital troubles start circulating, even though there has been no public dispute or confirmed issue. Structure is James Matthews' lifeblood. That is how he was trained throughout his professional life. The culture of hedge funds values stability, predictability, and emotional control. Danger is estimated. We control the exposure. Impatience never got you anywhere. That kind of thinking does not leave the house. It becomes ingrained in home life. Routine rather than spontaneity governs their home life, which includes school timetables, security concerns, and planned trips. Curated even is leisure. Ski vacations to places you know and love. Spending time at Eden Rock, where seclusion is assured. Absence of trial and error. Absence of cycles of reinvention. This brings solace to James. Pippa went through a metamorphosis. Her life was unrestricted before to her marriage. Her social circle shifted frequently. From one place to another, she could assume many personas. Despite not having any say in the matter, she managed to find her way through London's social circles, charity events, physical endeavors, and the media spotlight. This leeway became much more limited after marriage. A significant part of the Matthews way of life is focused within. Family and long-term friends make up a large portion of most people's social networks. You seldom meet new individuals. Genuine friendships that are visible to the public are less common. Stability and repetition are both brought about by this. Those in the know say this realm is serene yet unyielding. Every day becomes a blur. Consistent origins, habits, and anticipations. Only those who are whole on the inside may benefit from that kind of existence. For those who found vitality in constant change, it presents a formidable obstacle. Many people see Pippa's public silence as an act of dignity, but it's really more of an indication that she's adjusting. She failed to alter her immediate environment at Matthews. She changed her body so it would fit. Her decision to skip interviews was deliberate. The family stays away from story risks. The meaning of words can be twisted. A story can go viral. Remaining silent maintains control. Her outward appearance changed as well. Less flashy declarations, more understated options, clothing meant to fit in rather than stand out. We are not aiming to influence. We are being neutral. Vehicles stress this once again. Realistic decisions favored above artistic expression. Collaborative transportation services, including drivers, where required. There is no sentimental investment in things that imply autonomy. Collective decisions are made in this setting, yet there is no guarantee of equality. James provides the foundation of the family's finances, their property holdings, and their vision for the future. Pippa joins not only as an associate but also as an active member of the pre-existing structure. While this imbalance does not necessarily indicate dissatisfaction, it does limit the room for discussion. Kids sped up this process. Pippa was further rooted in household rhythm after having 3 children in a relatively short span of time. The role of a mother can be rewarding. Also, it can be quite filling. Kids only serve to amplify the inward draw in homes where rules and routines are already heavily enforced. Parallel lives are not allowed much room. Attendance at public events demonstrates this. They show up in a group. They depart in a group. Everyone is calm, kind, and gets right to the point. There doesn't seem to be any resistance. No apparent spontaneity is also present. This is seen by onlookers as a lack of emotional connection. Actually, it could just be a reflection of habit. However, routines followed for an extended period of time come to define who we are. Drama versus tranquility is not the contrast that sells uncertainty. This is all about growth versus shrinkage. After marrying, Pippa Middleton's life took a turn for the worse. Less independent decision-making, fewer venues, and jobs that made it into the public eye. There is a lack of support for personal branding within the Matthews family. No one is willing to put up with uncertainty or pursue attention-grabbing side projects. This is a huge change for someone who has always lived on the periphery of royal life, away from the constant scrutiny and symbolism. People don't perceive arguments. Their eyes detect a lack. Betrayal is invisible to them. They observe a retreat. Withdrawal is more easily misunderstood than anarchy. Another factor subtly adds fuel to the fire of conjecture. Legacy holds a special place in James Matthews' heart. There has been triumph and sorrow in his family tree. The need for security and order is hardwired into us as a result of our past experiences. As much as possible, people want to keep their personal lives risk-free. Feeling safe can be the result of that protective instinct. Feeling confined is another possible sensation. Rather than taking the lead, Pippa seems to be providing assistance within this framework. Publicly, she does not take the lead on initiatives. On her own, she does not fight for causes. If she has any effect at all, it's behind closed doors. For audiences used to stories about strong, independent romantic partners. Not because it's bad for health, but because it's unequal, this dynamic makes us wonder. Marriages come under scrutiny when one spouse experiences a significant reduction in their world while the other stays the same. Not much has changed for James since he was single. Consistent company stance, privacy policies, and settings. Almost everything in Pippa's world changed. There is a little unbalance there. There is no squeaking. Whispers are its only sound. Even in low-key couples, hushed conversations go farther than outspoken ones. The issue of controversy has long since passed by the time people get to this stage of monitoring their lifestyle. The focus is on long-term viability. Can two individuals be adequately fed for decades by a life of seclusion, self-control, and silence? I don't think that question is cruel. Nobody is perfect. This is why questions about their marriage persist despite the lack of evidence. Softly, without being overbearing. For them, privacy is just one aspect of their way of life. A secret layer of their marriage that creates subtle strain is the maintenance and management of various initiatives that demand attention, coordination, and joint responsibility. There is more to Bucklebury, Berkshire than meets the eye. The couple bought 72 acres for more than just a getaway, they wanted a place with promise. They started with a cafe, expanded to include glamping pods, outdoor play spaces, and held events throughout the year. The management of these endeavors is meticulous. The planning, staffing, and supervision of any event is essential, whether it's a community festival or a children's program. On the outside, things seem calm. In private, it is a functioning business that necessitates harmony and collaboration. They have loftier objectives. The couple's plans to construct a nursery on Bucklebury Farm have been approved. The idea combines Pippa's passion for early childhood education with her entrepreneurial spirit. Even though it's a private effort, it involves the community and makes better use of the estate. Pippa is doing more than just adjusting to James' environment, as the nursery shows. Within the safe confines of their home, her family takes precedence, but she is actively molding it. The main Georgian house is another evidence of their methodical existence. An outdoor pool and tennis court are part of the upgrades that necessitate planning authorization and meticulous coordination, demonstrating the meticulous management of even private leisure. A life that values planning ahead of time manifests itself in a variety of ways, including automobiles, estate management, and home improvement projects. Despite what outsiders may see as opulence, the truth is a regimen of duties that supports one's family and one's sense of self. Pippa continues to engage in entrepreneurial pursuits as well. She actively contributes to the family business while being true to the private ethos of the Matthews through her work at the Buckleberry Gift and Farm Shop, seasonal events, and her previous experience in event planning and writing. Eden Rock, their Caribbean residence, functions in a similar fashion. It is opulent but private, reserved for private gatherings with loved ones or as a strategic hideaway rather than for public exhibition. Their travel is as disciplined and practical as the rest of their lifestyle. What is revealed in this middle segment is modest but crucial. Even though it's not easy, the Matthews household runs smoothly. Collaborating, concentrating, and negotiating are essential in every project, real estate decision, event, and vacation itinerary. In public, the pair seems very much in sync and at peace. Anxieties and stability coexist in their private lives as a result of the interplay between activity and control. Those looking in perceive nothingness and silence. Coordination is ongoing, as is known to those in the know. Here we see the story's justification for the existence of marriage rumors involving Pippa and James. Scandal is not at issue. What interests me most is seeing how well organized, purposeful, and managed their lives are. Cooperation, compromise, and change are all necessities for the couple's joint endeavors. Outsiders may secretly question the sustainability of this meticulously planned existence within that framework. People are no longer seeking out overt conflict when they begin to doubt Pippa Middleton's marriage. Pressure is what they're after. And the stress here originates from a seemingly tranquil existence that actually holds on to tension instead of letting it go. There may be less public mayhem where the Matthews family lives, but that doesn't mean they're immune to scrutiny. Planning for the future, controlling one's reputation, and a strong aversion to change are the guiding principles. Their level of visibility and the places they call home are both influenced by their resistance. There is a purpose to Buckleberry. It provides some space from London without making you feel completely alone. Accessible from a distance. Far enough to be undetectable. Pippa is cut off from the social network she formerly knew so well, but it also lets them live as a family without constant observation. Identity is shaped by proximity, so this is important. London was a city of multitudes. Buckleberry provides reliability. James finds stability in being consistent. Pippa sees it as a restriction on her exposure to the outside world. Family logistics, school scheduling, planned trip windows, and limited social interactions apparently govern their days. You can anticipate the beat. Risk is mitigated by predictability. And it lessens the element of surprise. Many famous people show signs of stress by being photographed too much. The lack of Pippa's stress would be the first sign that it is there. That void is now plain to see. When she does make an appearance, it's usually in connection with her sister or for official business. Outside of families, there are no public friendships or autonomous social networks. Her once individual identity seems to have become more relational as a result of this. When comparisons are introduced, the pressure becomes much more intense. Just like her sister is confined to a life of institutionalized restraints. Catherine's prominence is useful. Her public persona serves as a metaphor. Influence and status come her way as a result of her self-control. Privacy is a result of Pippa's discipline. Power being absent. Even though it's subtle, the contrast is damaging. For quite different motives, two sisters lead regimented lifestyles. Restraint is the key to becoming relevant. One person becomes unrecognizable. Pippa is not accused of being envious by anyone. They doubt satisfaction. Getting approval from others is not a priority in the Matthews household. True success comes from within. Happy people don't talk about it. When the two people involved get their meaning from the same places, that philosophy has a chance of succeeding. When one partner's prior meaning-making resources go, speculation sets in. Having affluence without spectacle so close by adds another degree of pressure. Money is hardly a cause for celebration, yet it is pervasive. Functionality, not expression, is the primary goal of properties. Instead than being a frivolous luxury, travel is practical. Eden Rock is more of a prison than a playground, despite its opulence. Many high-net-worth lives provide an emotional release, but this takes that away. There is no outward display of defiance, indulgence, or diversion. Nothing goes beyond what is allowed. The effect is amplified in children. Raising a child in a regimented home environment limits their freedom to discover the world on their own. Pippa's parenting seems to play a crucial part, but it isn't enough to make someone feel whole. The public's lack of engagement regarding her private interests is revealing. There is no cause that she fights for. Projects for the general public are not her forte. With the exception of her family, she does not keep a storyline. Because of this omission, speculation can flourish. Assumption of stasis sets in when progress is not apparent. The story is advanced even by the couple's handling of attention. Their encounters are lighthearted, courteous, and unobtrusive when captured on camera. There isn't any overt display of tension or performative warmth. This lack of bias annoys onlookers. There is no way to fix it. The impact is amplified by the absence of a social media presence. When people in a culture interpret your quiet as a sign of secrecy, you might think again. The Matthews family stands apart from the crowd because they don't want to follow the latest trends in visibility. This is continuity in James's view. A departure from her previous existence is symbolized by it for Pippa. Persistence is another one of those subtle pressure points. They will remain in the properties for the foreseeable future. These investments are meant for the future. Strong foundations have been laid. Major upheaval would be necessary to escape such an existence. On a structural as well as an emotional level. Tension arises from that fact alone. Decisions seem final. The expense of movement is high. When there seems to be no way out, speculation takes flight. No one ever thinks about a major split. Slow unhappiness is what they envision. They picture adaptability becoming resigned. Nothing here indicates instability. This clarifies the ongoing nature of the inquiry. Alignment is essential to the Matthews way of life. It is not very accommodating to drift. Both spouses must consistently follow the same course for the marriage to endure under this framework. In public, they appear united. They lead a regimented life behind closed doors. There is strength in that stiffness. And it can turn into pressure as well. The marriage of Pippa Middleton is not being investigated because it appears to be in disarray. Its seemingly sealed appearance has drawn attention to it. Sealed lifestyles leave room for conjecture regarding the consequences of changing individual requirements. What they observe does not fuel the doubt. What they no longer do is the driving force behind it. After some time has passed, the public stops responding to speculation regarding Pippa Middleton's marriage. Patterns are triggering their reactions. Regularities in this couple's daily lives, the degree to which their lives stay the same, and the degree to which they are expected to stay in sync with one another. There have been no public declarations implying collapse, no legal files, and no confirmed split. Facts do not support the storyline around this marriage, so its omission is significant. It depends on careful observation. What the public observes is a life that has been artificially prolonged. Many features made to last for a long time. Having a country estate to call home for many years was the plan all along. Entry to a secluded Caribbean paradise that conceals rather than beckons extravagance. It appears like everything will remain the same. And depending on the significance that each partner places on things, constancy can either be reassuring or stifling. Marrying doesn't seem to have affected James Matthews. He maintains his composed demeanor. His inclination toward personal space is unwavering. His social circle is small and tightly regulated. His life's direction kept moving along without any discernible change. The course of events for Pippa Middleton changed drastically. She altered her status from that of a peripheral public figure to one of near invisibility, from one of social flux to one of household steadiness, and from one of autonomous movement to one of coordinated life. The public's skepticism revolves around that change. Reason being, it denotes giving up, not failing. Marriages where one spouse disappears more frequently than the other tend to make people uncomfortable. Neither adultery nor strife constitute the true mystery at the story's core. Asymmetry exists. The kind of existence that one person finds effortless while demanding radical change from the other. While it may not spell the end of a marriage, it does make one wonder if they will find happiness in the long run. People evolve with time. Requirements change. There isn't much space for innovation in the Matthews lifestyle. Stability, not exploration, is its optimal state. There would be tension within the family over privacy concerns if Pippa sought out a new public position. Their years-long efforts to evade attention would be exposed if she were to increase her visibility. Change is resisted by the structure itself. Because of this, people will continue to speculate when facts are lacking. Onlookers perceive a life with few escape routes. A union where maintenance is anticipated, not discussed. A partnership in which full and silent compromise may already have taken place. Reassurance is conveyed by one's public image. No scandals, no turmoil, a stable marriage, 3 children, lovely houses. It seems like private reality is more complicated. Once comfortable in the spotlight, this woman now prefers to keep to herself. A home where expression is discouraged and seclusion is the preferred method of maintaining harmony. One or the other is correct. Live side by side. No one is really wondering if the couple is happy in their marriage. The question is whether it can withstand changes in the future with ease. Being close to a royal makes this worse. Constant comparison is inevitable when you're next to the monarchy. Though constrained, Catherine's existence offers advancement, titles, impact, and meaning. Pippa's life is characterized by stability rather than growth. People feel an innate sense of psychological imbalance when they see such contrast, but it does not necessarily lead to animosity. Time also has a role, subtly sowing seeds of uncertainty. The more motionless a couple is for an extended period of time, the more attention they attract. When they don't see anything, they infer that something is being held in place on purpose. Speculation is not addressed by the Matthews family. Their tactic is to remain silent. They are safe and quiet. Narratives can also fill this need. In peaceful environments, people tend to express their discontent. Wherever there is restriction, they portray tension. So far, nothing has indicated a conclusion. The question's tenacity is explained. For what reasons do so many think this marriage will end in divorce? Why? Because its foundation seems to be confinement rather than growth. The reason being that the system that keeps them private also limits visible personal progress, so one life stayed the same while the other underwent a full transformation. Purposeful stillness seems risky in a culture that views mobility as the key to progress. A more restricted truth emerges. Either the marriage's longevity is directly related to its seal, or the difficulty in adapting to changes is a result of the system's resistance to change. That lack of clarity is what keeps people guessing. The tabloids are completely inaccurate about the stability of Pippa Middleton's marriage. Rigidity dictates its nature. Furthermore, being stiff can be seen as both a strength and a weakness. Collapse is not something people are waiting for. Evidence of flexibility is what they are now awaiting. Here is what the lifestyle has to offer: 0. Thus, uncertainty persists even in the face of non-existent evidence.